Hi people, coming at you as a scraggy Annie today, I'm afraid. I've been doing the garden, I've had a lovely long walk with my husband, and I cleaned the chickens out, which I have to admit was really, probably harder work than I imagined. I don't know, I just felt really wiped out. I jet washed I have one of those funky plastic chicken coops, so you can take it all apart and jet wash it, which is pretty easy to do, but actually the whole setup was quite exhausting, so I kind of sat down after that thinking, oh my God. Anyway, I'm day 17 today since my surgery, which was a gastric bypass, ROUX. I had at Berkshire Independent Hospital, my bariatric surgeon being Dr. Ramus. I'm very well, apart from a little bit tired, but again, I think that's totally expected. Probably more tired than I imagined. I wonder what the noise was, but it's just started hammering it down with rain. I'm probably more tired than I thought through just doing the chickens. And I said to Harry, you know, that's quite tough to be so tired after something that I didn't see as that active. And I did really well with my steps yesterday, as you know, and today I have actually cracked the 10,000. I've done 12,728 at the moment. But my husband and I, we actually had a really good day. Howie's been looking into, I don't know if any of you ever heard about geocaching, it's called, but it's C-A-C-H-I-N-G. And basically there's these little things hidden around the country, I guess. And you have to go on an app and you look at the coordinates and you try and, you know, there might be a little hint to find it. So in fact, there was one just here on our doorstep. So we started with that. I looked twice. I looked yesterday on my walk and I looked again today and I'm like, no, it's obviously not here, Howard. Come on, let's go. Ready to give up like you do. And he found it. Totally amazing. So we were like, oh my God. So what we've learned is when we go for our walks now and we try and find these geocaches, we need to take a pen, because basically what it was a piece of paper in a plastic bag inside something else. And that something else can be anything. And we need to write our name and log that we found it at this point and put it back where it was so other people can find it. So that was kind of fun. And then we walked along the canal and found another one. And in fact, the other one, I'll be really honest with you, was no bigger than my small fingernail. Unbelievable. And even inside that, there was a long piece of paper that you were supposed to sign, and you also log it on the app. So anyway, it was really exciting. That was it was good fun today. It gave your walk a bit of a purpose, and we ended up finding 3. So I never found one of them. My husband I'm walking a bit slower, so I'm walking behind him, and I'm like, oi, if you're going to get there first, of course you're always going to find them. Not that I could find them anyway. He's a bit more, I don't know, cleverer, I don't know, bit more stubborn. He's not going to, I give up too easy. That's my problem. So yeah, that was my day, which has been really good. Friends of ours have come and collected some wood to make a pergola that we've given them. So that's really good. We're getting our garden tidy and ready for summer, which is really exciting because I do like the summer here where it's not too hot and sweaty. And that brings me on nicely to also what I wanted to talk about today, which was I was watching another girl's vlog earlier. I'm not even sure of your real name actually, but it was Perforce. And I found it really interesting today to watch what you were talking about. I think there's something about tag somebody and where would you be now if you hadn't had weight loss surgery. Well, I think that's too early for me to say. I'm only 17 days post-surgery. I am 24.5 pounds down since my liver reduction diet. So, you know, another few pounds and I'm 2 stone lighter than I was, which is never coming back. And as I've said, little things, your clothes and you know, I can see my face is changing and things like that. But her account, how she worded her vlog today really gave me some food for thought, But you know what I mean? She's obviously lived in Asia, so have we. And you know, the struggles and all the trials and the tribulations you have with living there, 1 as an expat, 2 as a larger person, and 3 as not a native, you know, as somebody that is completely different. And, you know, we started off in India. We spent nearly 2 years in Mumbai in India. We took my son, he was 12 years old, and he went to the American School of Bombay, which he had a great time. And I think India, if we're all being honest, changed our lives forever in many, many ways. But it was a hardened kind of reality to expat life, I guess. You know, when we first got off the aeroplane, to get off the aeroplane to children literally hanging off your suitcase begging was heartbreaking on one hand, but a bit scary also, you know, and it does take some time to get used to that and not want to scoop them all up and take them home. And I won't bore you with those details. The whole point of me saying about this is the larger side and what the reality is for you as a larger person, and I was. And I think one of the funniest that it's not funny because Mason at the time was quite chubby. My son was a little bit overweight as well. And our first initial visit there, so he would have been 12, obviously very sensitive and, you know, and me being a larger person, I've got larger people in my family. The word fat is not accepted, not allowed. You don't say it, almost like you're in denial. It's rude word. It's almost as bad as the N word or the C word, you know. It's that kind of it's not acceptable to be said in my household to anybody at any time. So that's how we kind of lived. And when we got to India, we went to this hotel, I think it was the Intercontinental in Mumbai, and you have the guards stood outside who look all fancy and they've got their big, you know, Indian headdresses on and stuff. And they absolutely adored Mason. Now, I realise this from other expats. They adore all children and they want to grab them and do all of this. They're very touchy-feely. But with Mason, they just put they were probably 7 foot tall, and they'd put their arm around my son and kind of pull him in toes and go, "Oh, he's chubby," you know, and we'd be like, "Oh my God, you can't say that. How can you say that? You might ruin his life calling him chubby," you know. But actually, I think over time you realised that they didn't mean any harm by that. One, they were stating a fact. And two, to them, being chubby or overweight actually meant wealth and health. And so if you were slightly on the chubby side, it meant you had some money. So we kind of got used to that very, very quickly. And then it'd be walking down. I'm just going to turn a light on, actually. I think it's getting quite dark in here. 1 minute. Turn those on. I don't know if it's going to make the slightest bit of difference, but we can try. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can now see all my spots. Great. And my messy hair today, but hey-ho. So, yeah, my other funny thing was I remember walking down Colaba Causeway in Mumbai, and a beautiful market street, typically in India. I mean, it was bustling. You were shoulder to shoulder with people. Occasionally you might get your boob grabbed because that's what they do. That's another story. But anyway, you know, you'd get touched in a way and you'd think, did they just do that? Anyway, but all the sellers were trying to, you know, madam, come here. Look at this. This is only 100 rupees. And you look and you go, oh, I like that. And I go, my size? I go, yes, come here. And then when you got there and you were closer to him, he looks you up and down and goes, oh no, madam, not your size. And you can't help it but feel deflated. You're just like, oh God, I must be the fattest person on this planet. You know, people can't even, or you'd get the other seller who'd be like, madam, come. I do have your size. Come on. I promise I have your size. And I'm thinking, am I wasting my time? And I could feel myself getting a bit cross with them, you know, thinking, you're just going to waste my bloody time. And I know you haven't got my size. Madam, come on, let me do it. Let me show you. Anyway, out they get and they get their wares out and they've got this top and it's size 12 and they're going, one size fits all, madam. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, it wouldn't even fit one of my thighs, for goodness sake. So you have to laugh about it. And I think, you know, I wrote a few blogs. They weren't public blogs, but I did write a lot my initial time in India because it was funny. You have to look back on it and laugh about it, you know. I think then we moved from India to Singapore and we spent 3 years in Singapore. Singapore was probably the worst place for me because I've always suffered, I now know because I was larger, with sweating. Mainly my face and my head, always. So you can imagine in 28 degrees plus, and the humidity was up there constantly, and it was daytime, nighttime. There was no gift from it. So as much as Singapore was a good time for 3 years, for me it was really hard work because I sweated. So I never wanted to go out in the evening because I couldn't wear makeup. Why? Because it sweated off. My hair, which as you know, can be straightened and long and it looks lovely when it's done. Not once in 3 years could I wear my hair down because it just frizz and goes horrible. So yeah, and I do remember one other thing, another thing. I think we were going through the Philippines on one of our trips, and my husband and I were at we're checking into the airplane, which I presume was a very small airplane. And I will admit, the same as a lot of other people that have had this surgery, you know, it was getting to a point, especially the smaller airlines, that Asian people are nowhere near as big as us. So their seatbelts were always a little bit snug. But just like the girl I'd watched earlier, I was prepared to put up with it. I was never, ever in a million years going to have to say, I need a seatbelt extension. I was humiliated, but I made it do. You know, you kind of push it on, and I did it. But this certain time, we were about to fly, I think from somewhere to the Philippines. And my husband and I were stood in the queue with our cases, which get weighed. And can you imagine my humiliation when they actually weighed me? And I was mortified, more than mortified. I just remember standing there and saying to Howard, I'm not getting on it. He goes, you're going to have to. I'm going, all these people around and they want me to get on that fucking scale, which has got the big numbers across the front. And a little bit of me died that day. You know, you're just kind of, for fuck's sake, as much as I am a confident, bubbly person, that really, all these little things, they build up over time and you don't forget them. You kind of store them somewhere and you're just like, it's one of those humiliations that you don't ever wish to do again, you know. And today, I know, and something else, even here in England. So we first moved back to England. We did 3 years in Singapore, then we went to China for 2 years, then we came home. So I had to join a new doctor's surgery when I got here, and I tried to carry on my lifestyle the same as it was while we were living abroad. And as I've said to you, I've got a gym set up in the garage here. So I tried to go to the gym, and I think about a year in, I was still walking and running. I was doing interval running on the treadmill, and my hips started to get a little bit sore. And it made me think of this today because my hips are sore after walking just twice. 2 walks I've had in 2 days, and last night, throughout the night, I could feel my hips were really, really sensitive and a bit tender. Anyway, when I told the doctor that I was having problems while I was on the treadmill, his face was kind of a picture. He literally said, "What the hell are you doing running?" And I was like, "Why?" He said, "The size you are, you shouldn't be running." I was just like, wow, fuck me. Knock me down with a feather, why don't you? I cannot believe a doctor was telling somebody that's overweight that you shouldn't be doing cardio exercise on a treadmill. Now, if I was running on the street and pounding my knees and my feet, I totally understand but it's just put me off all the doctors up there anyway, because I just thought, how bloody rude, how absolutely rude of you. You know, ended up, I think he said he thought I had a bursitis or something in the side. But nonetheless, it puts me off going up to people like that because they're just jobs worth. That nobody's in that kind of job anymore because they love it. They're just overworked and underpaid, I guess. So yeah, they were my ramblings today anyway, thanks to watching somebody else's vlog. It's made me remember silly little things about living abroad and the things that you do put up with when you're big, and it's not something I'm going to miss, you know. As everybody else, I'm looking forward to getting on an aeroplane and not having to worry about whether it's going to do up or not, because that isn't going to be me. You know, I am going to be the normal one, if you like, although my husband did just say earlier, you've never been normal, Dan. I know that. Anyway, I've already rambled for 13 minutes, you see. I can go on, talk to myself, I think. I get more sense out myself sometimes, don't you? And I think the lighting in here is terrible, so I apologise for that if it's really bad. But if I get too close, you're going to see every single little spot. And that is I have to admit, I've just painted my nails beautiful, huh? But don't look too close, because where I took off red nail varnish, I've got red fingers. That's attractive, but not. But I'm sure I'll get it off in the bath. I'm going to have a nice bath this evening. We've worked really hard and walked a lot. Anyway, guys, I hope you've all had a wonderful Saturday. My vlog's very late for me. I normally do this in the morning, and I thought I'd wait till my husband was out of the room and he's up in his bath. So anyway, wonderful Saturday night, people. Bye.